Alright, what's the deal, Finesse family? We finna do a quick video. You feel me? We finna get back to it on dropping the content, staying more consistent. But you feel me? If you see the title, we got some news to drop. You feel me? For those who don't know or ain't seen the last video, my trading account was down like $4,000, and recently it was down way more than that. So we was all the way down to like $7,000, $8,000. But we end up turning it around, and now we up 15,000. You feel me? 15K. So let me bring it up on the screen. All right, so as you can see, we up $15,739. You feel me? So this is to show that anybody could turn their account around. Anybody could, make money with option trading. It's not that hard. You just gotta stay patient and continue to, put your foot in front of the others. It's not that, not that hard. But what I came here to really tell you was, I really came to give an update, on possible stocks I'm looking at, long-term plays that I'm looking at, and basically how I got my account from negative 4,000 to positive 15K. Before I get into that, we're gonna do a quick story. So I went to LA about around June, and just to see some family. And during that time, I was trading and enjoying a birthday, and I was losing money during the trading. And at that point, I thought I knew what I was doing, but turned out that I was just messing up my bankroll. Long story short, I ended up going all the way down from like 5,000 to like $600 in that time span of being in LA. And I was only out there for like 4 days. So once I got back home, got a call. You feel me? Lost my job, so that happened, and now I have only $600 to my name in my Robinhood account. Once that happened, put one foot after the other, turned out 600, 1,200, 1,200, 2,400, and just kept it snowballing. But how I did that was I set a goal on how much I want to make per day, set a goal on how much I want to make for the week. Once you do that, set clear goals. That's the first step. You got to set a clear goal. All right, once you set a goal, I only look for high probability setups. So those are setups that I know for a fact have a good win rate. Those are gonna be the bull flags, those are gonna be the bear flags, break and retest, head and shoulders. So I'm capitalizing off those type of setups, and when I see those in the market, I'm attacking. I'm throwing my money in there, and I'm trusting myself and letting it go. If you guys seen the last video, one of my problems was, not trusting my plays. So this time around, I started trusting my plays more. I started mapping out, my charts and going in with a plan. What I mean by going in with a plan, I'm saying the day before, you gotta look at the levels that it can possibly hit. You gotta have a thesis. Everything has to be in confluence for you to actually take this play. Once you're able to have everything in confluence, then it gives you more confidence. You're more aware of what's going on instead of just guessing, instead of having FOMO. But that all comes with having a plan. So plan, high probability setups, and taking away your emotions. You done got so happy to where you didn't know what to do with it. So act like you've been there before. Take your emotions out of it, and think of yourself in a millionaire aspect. You've done this before, you've been here before, and you're gonna do it again. Once you have that type of mindset through this situation, it's gonna be easier to hit your goals. But First step, plan. Second step, high probability setup. Third step, remove your emotions. Your fourth step is going to be basically risk management. Really, risk management is the first step. That's the very first step. You got to have risk management in order to be profitable. Without risk management, you're going to go in with your full account and you're going to blow up your account. That's one of the things I was doing, throughout my journey. Going in with the full size account might be $1,000. I might go in with the whole 1,000 and lose that on one play. Now I got to go back to my job, work a full week just to make up 1,000 that I lost, And it just was a big snowball effect. But I learned from my mistakes. And what did I do? Once I seen profit, took profit. Once I hit my target, I hit my target, closed the charts, and I was done for the day. Also give yourself realistic expectations. I started off trying to make $100 a day. Once I mastered that for like a month, I went up 200, 300. Once I was able to do that, now I want to do $600 a day, 500, 1,000. And you just got to scale up slowly. But that was basically how I got to that point. So yeah, you basically got to scale up slowly and not try to move so fast. That was one of my biggest mistakes too. I'm trying to get rich tomorrow, moving so fast to where I'm losing everything the next day, or I'm losing what I gained. I'm giving it right back to the market. You don't want to do that. You don't want to keep on slow down your process, and that's really going to, determine how far you get with this trading. Because a lot of people can make money, but a lot of people can't maintain it. That's where that risk management come in. If you're able to manage your bankroll correctly, cut your losses short and let your wins ride, then that becomes a snowball effect in a positive way. You start getting accustomed to cutting your losses short. You start getting accustomed to, finding winning plays and only executing on those type of plays. But it's all about creating those habits that's going to benefit you in the long run. Cutting your losses short. That's a habit that you got to get in the first week, in the first month. You got to be able to cut your losses short, or this is going to be one of those things that's going to bite you in the butt. I done had that problem before, letting my play keep running. And I could have just cut the loss short, or I might go back even and I still don't cut it off. Tomorrow's a new day. It's always another day. You always can do it again tomorrow. The market not going nowhere, but it's all part of the emotional curve that we don't understand as new traders, that we gotta go through. You feel me? When it comes to actually seeing our money fluctuate, when it comes to actually having to, maintain your actual bankroll, or trying, test yourself, challenge yourself, push yourself to the next limit. Stop, wasting time. Stop procrastinating. Stop doubting yourself. All these things is gonna come out when you trade. All these things is gonna, get exposed. Are you a greedy person? Them gonna get exposed. And you really gonna see yourself for who you really are. But, this trading thing get deeper than just money and charts and buying and selling. But I could go deep. I can go, all day with it. But you feel me? I'm finna close this video out. Appreciate all my Finesse family members, all the Finesse camp members. You feel me? We do got a Telegram group where we post all our plays. I'm working on being more prompt, being more, alert when it comes to the Telegram group. Cause we do got a community where I drop the same plays that I'm getting into. So the same plays that I made 15K with are the same plays I'm dropping in my group. Instagram, follow all my social medias. You feel me? And we go live. We go live on Instagram. We go live on Instagram, dropping all type of free sauce. When it comes to trading, when it comes to managing your bankroll, you know, you can come in, ask questions, and we're gonna go from there. But appreciate all my finesse family members. We're gonna get up out of here, man.